Hey, what's up guys, this is the miner I made and today I'm gonna be showing you how I made it. It has 6 Zotac GTX 1060s with 3GB of VRAM for mining, an Asus Prime Z270p motherboard, Intel Pentium G4400 CPU, 8GB of RAM and 120GB SSD. The hashing speed for the GPUs is 1750 hashes per second with an overclock. In theory it uses around 700 watts of power, and I haven't really tested that, so those are just theoretical numbers. And now to the build vlog. Okay, this is the motherboard I'm gonna be using. It's got 6 PCIe slots, just enough for every one of my 6 GPUs. I got 6 of these risers. I tested one here, it fits everything, looks normal. Haven't turned it on yet, of course. I already installed the standoffs on the edges, so it's not just laying on carpet. Okay, these are my 6 GPUs. They are also put into risers right here. They are Zotac 1060s 3GB version, and yeah, I got 6 of them in total. This is a Pentium Skylake processor. It's the G4400. It's dual core, it's pretty simple. Exactly what you need for a mining rig and 8GB of RAM. Maybe some will say that it's overkill, 8GB, but whatever, RAM is not really that expensive and it's going up in price anyways. I've got an SSD, 120GB. Normal speeds, SSDs are getting cheaper. 120 gigs was like cheaper than 64, so that's why I got 120. Okay, I've also got some fans. I'll see if I can incorporate those because I have some spare left from my own PC. And this is the thing that I'm gonna be putting the rig on, and currently I'm figuring out how to put it on because of course it's pretty small. Actually it's 400 by 600 millimeters, and the motherboard takes like this much space, so there's like I'm gonna put the PSU there, and I can't put the motherboard here and the GPUs like I was planning to put here on the same level because the GPUs are too long. So I'm going to have to make little platforms here that are gonna rise the GPUs. That'll help with the cooling and everything, of course, as well. I'll be able to put them out more sparsely as well, so it's gonna be pretty good. I'm making the risings right now, making these pieces. I cut them from the one long piece, and yeah, I'm sanding them right now. Boom, these pieces are done, and I've gotta put them like this now. Like I'm gonna put some L-shaped things to attach them to each other, and it's gonna be mounted by screws. And before I do that, I should actually measure the PSU, which I haven't showed yet because I haven't got it yet, because it's in my PC. I'm gonna be donating my personal PC's PSU for this because it's too much for that PC anyways. It's 850 watts. Yeah, I have to fit everything to see that everything will actually fit, and I actually gotta screw the motherboard standoffs in before I make these because it will be way harder to use the electric screwdriver. Then yeah, whatever. Bam, CPU installed. Hopefully I did it correctly. Probably I did probably. This is the way I want it to look. I'm just gonna add the L things now, and then put in the motherboard, and then I'm gonna put these on. Okay, so I haven't, of course, screwed everything in because the power supply is not there yet, but this is about how it's going to look. I got the motherboard there, the 2 supports, one for the top of the GPU, one for the bottom. And I am exactly lining up this with a PCI riser, places where to screw them in, although I'm not going to be screwing them in because there's this piece that I don't know if I'm supposed to remove on the bottom. I only got the power supply, and now I have to check if all the wires can connect and if they're long enough. Hopefully they are. It's a Corsair RM850X, 850 watts power supply. Should be enough for this rig. Now I'm gonna paint some markers on these little standoffs to know where I should drill the holes for these standoffs, and they should hopefully leave marks on the wood where they should be. Yeah. Actually kind of worked. He left a little mark, but it's really hard to see somewhere. Whoa, I was really playing with fire, doing this so close to a drain, and one of my screws fell into the drain, but either I'll be able to get it out with this magnet somewhere here right there, or I'll have to get another tool. I just realized that there is actually like a spider nest under it, like a lot of spider webs, and if I pierce it too much, it will just break and the screw will probably fall somewhere. As you can see, it did actually fall even lower, and that's really awful, but I got this amazing plan to put this magnet down there. It's out. Nice, dude. Got the distancers in, and looks like I won't even have to use glue because I screwed them in pretty well. They're pretty sturdy. Just precise on a cheap Chinese case. I mean, not that bad, except in some places. You can always push the motherboard a little bit. So I fixed the power supply in place with screws on all the sides. Easy. The motherboard is with the standoffs, and I'll probably just tape the SSD on the wood somewhere, like here. There's a lot of space there. And now I'll actually go and put in the RAM and check if this system actually posts and if everything's okay, and then I'll get on to putting in the GPUs. It actually works. It's got LEDs as well. Didn't know the motherboard has that. Yeah, and here's the setup. Okay, everything's mounted now. Only need to plug in all the power cables, and then I'll go on to testing and see how the system works. Cables done and everything you can see here except the USB. I'll do that right now. Good way of checking myself. Yeah, so all cables except the USB is done. Okay, first power on. Let's do this. This is gonna be a huge moment. Alright, gotta get a normal power switch for this thing, cause like seriously, this is really hard. That explains it. Didn't press the power button. Whoa, very scary, but looks like all the GPUs turned on at the start. Now they're turning again, and they're not turning. This is a really scary moment though. Okay. The system. Whoa. It was detecting something. It's trying to do something, maybe. Oh. It's posting, but it's not posting anything. That's bad. Okay. Okay, I've got all 6 GPUs working right now, and that was a relatively simple thing to fix. I had to go in the BIOS and turn on the 4G graphics thing. Now all of them work. So I've set up the system right here where I'll be leaving it for the rest of the time, and I've added some fans to push out the hot air between the video cards, and actually that helps a lot. It pushes out the hot air out of here, keeps the chipsets cooler there, and yeah, that's really useful for the video cards. They are a lot cooler because of that. So adding these fans like that were really useful for this design. I've also added names for the GPUs to recognize which one is which. And as you can see, everything's working. The fan on the PSU's working, so it's using about 700 watts right now. At least that's what the software says. I'll have to put a counter on and count that on a separate counter. And everything's there working, and I've set up the monitor here. It's actually in a pretty cold room, so the temperatures shouldn't get too hot anyways. This is like this room's like 19 degrees Celsius. It's a fairly large room, so it won't heat up real quick. I've set up the fan curves as well, so they don't make too much noise, because this is like a living room. And I'm using MSI Afterburner. The fan curves, I'll show you them. They're like this, so they don't really make too much noise, and they don't make any noise when they're not working. And that's actually a really good way to know if your system is working when the monitor is not turned on or you're not looking at it, because this is behind like a TV in a corner. These video cards, some of them Actually, one of them in particular, this GPU2, if I'm mistaken, it's GPU3 or GPU2, but the other system is really bad actually. Like, it runs really hot and it can't really be overclocked too much, so I don't know what's the case with that, but whatever. Like you can see, it's GPU2 on this system and it's running at 74 degrees. It's the one on the side here, and it actually, the chassis is pretty cold, so I think there's some problem with the thermal paste applied on the factory. As you can see, the other GPUs are running very cool, like these in particular, and they're really overclocked. They're pretty fast actually, and the one that is GPU2, that's the slowest one. So in total I'm getting about 1750 sols per second with this system. Those are 6 GTX 1063 gigabytes, and this one's running at 64 degrees, so it can probably be overclocked even more, but I don't really want to push them yet because it's winter right now and these rooms are very cold, but when summer comes they're gonna be a lot hotter. So yeah, I just leave this here and let it mine for a long time.